Hello, crafty friends. It's Lisa. Thanks for taking the time to join me. I am so excited to be here celebrating you. The Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel has grown over the past couple of years thanks to all of you. And we are so grateful for the time that you spend each week with us. So we wanted to celebrate. We've recently hit 5,000 subscribers, and we know without all your support, this would not be possible. So because this is all about our subscribers, we thought it would be a fun idea to do a tutorial you requested. And recently, a customer contacted me asking if I could provide a tutorial about a card I made earlier this year using the Fluff Butt stamp set. Now, I thought it would be fun to show you can take this particular shaker card and use any of Whimsy's Peeker stamps to recreate it. So I'm showing you two different versions of this Slimline shaker card today. First, I want to have a quick peek at some of the products I'm using, and we're going to talk about the products included in today's giveaway prize pack. So to be eligible for the prize pack, I need you to do one favor for me. Please comment down below letting me know which Whimsy products you currently have in your craft stash out of the products you see me using in the video today. Now, this prize pack includes the Hey Sugar stamp set and outline dies, along with the Stuff word die set, Comic Speech bubble die set, Slimline Scenic Countryside die set, and one of my favorites, the Dotty Stencil. Also, the winner's going to receive two medium confetti containers, Candy Cane Lane mix, and a yet to be released confetti mix from This Calls for Confetti. So now that we've talked about the prize pack, I'm going to be giving you some details about the giveaway a little bit later in the video when I do some Copic coloring. I think that's the prime time to do that. We're going to go ahead and start creating our card. So here I have that Dotty stencil, and I have a piece of 4" by 8.5" 100-pound cardstock. Any white cardstock you have will work. I've used my Scotch removable tape, and I've taped it to the back of the stencil so I don't have to worry about my paper moving around. Now, the Scotch removable tape is a great substitute for low-tack tapes on the market. It's inexpensive, and you can buy it in bundles or bulk, and I just put it on a Scotch dispenser and go on about my business. Here on the screen, you see I have this funky little thing. This is a spoon rest. It's a silicone spoon rest. And I have a bad habit when I'm using my blender brushes of just throwing them down on my work surface, and then the ink gets on my work surface and I have to stop and clean up so it doesn't transfer onto my projects where I don't want it. So I thought, what could I use that would hold the blender brushes and I wouldn't have to worry about the ink, transferring onto my work surface, and it would give me an easy cleanup. So I came up with this silicone spoon rest, and I absolutely love this thing. It holds 6 blender brushes, as you can see here, and it's great. When I'm done with it, I put my blender brushes away. If there's ink on it, I can take it to the sink, wash it, and then just bring it back in. So I'm working from left to right with this, and I'm starting with prized ribbon. I'm going to move into mowed lawn, squeezed lemonade, worn lipstick, kitsch flamingo, and villainous potion to do my ink blending. Now I'm working in small little sections here and just working my way from left to right down this 4" by 8.5" white cardstock. One of the things I like to point out occasionally when I'm doing ink blending on screen is this is sped up by 500%. So, and in reality, it took me about 15 to 20 minutes to do the ink blending on this. Remember that when you're ink blending, it's not a fast process. Take your time with it. Enjoy the process. Um, I love ink blending. I think ink blending with stencils is great for beginners. It gives you time to get a feel for your inks and learn how they blend together. And you're not working in a big area, you're working in smaller areas when you're using a stencil. And then you won't become so frustrated if you're not getting that perfect blend. So if you're new to ink blending, try using stencils first. And then as you get more comfortable with it, move into blending straight to your backgrounds. So here you can see the end result. I love the way this looks. I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. I am going to show you how to blend red, brown, and green for our Christmas version of this shaker. So I just quickly grabbed a piece of 8.5 by 11 white cardstock, laid it down, and secured the stencil down to the cardstock. Now you see I have two colors here for brown, and I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to use the vintage photo or the tea dye, but I did end up using that vintage photo. I'm also using forest moss, and I'm going to use the new lumberjack plaid with this as well. And I'm just using the brown as kind of a neutral. And remember, we're using the Hay Sugar stamp set with this card. And I wanted it to have a Christmas feel, but also have some gingerbread color in there as well. And that's why I went with that vintage photo color. Now, right now, you're probably thinking, what in the world? But in the end, I think this card turned out super cute. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and finish blending these colors together. And again, please remember, this is sped up 500%. And I'm just going to town, but I promise you, it took me about 20 minutes to do this process. So like I mentioned earlier, take your time with it and enjoy it. So here I have the 3 bunnies from the Fluff Butt stamp set in my Misty. And we're going to stamp these along with the sentiment Fluff Butt. And a little later, we're going to stamp the What's Up sentiment on a die cut comic speech bubble die from this set here. Now, remember, in the giveaway, we're giving away the Hay Sugar stamp set and outline dies, along with the comic speech bubble dies, the Stuff word die set, the Slimline Scenic Countryside die set, and the Dotty stencil. This video is going to be up, and you're going to have an opportunity to comment in order to be eligible to win. I just ask that you let me know, out of the products I've shared with you today in this video, what do you have in your craft stash already? And you have until December 27th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to leave that comment down below. I'm going to come back and pick a winner, and I will announce the winner in the description box below. Be sure those notification bells are hit and set so you don't miss out on that announcement, because I will leave a comment under your comment congratulating you. So let's go ahead and talk about stamping these. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the bunnies using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I've been talking a lot about the inks in my videos that I stamp and then use for coloring, and how I come back in and stamp over the images again. So we're going to stamp this once and leave it in the Misty and color these bunnies up. Now, I went ahead and I laid some ink down on the sentiment. You avoid them sticking to the paper and then lifting it up out of your Misty or any stamp positioning tool for that matter. So here you can see it stamped it well enough for me to color. So I'm going to grab some Copic markers and get busy. Now, also notice at the top of the screen, I have my rainbow ink blended background. That's going to play into how I color my bunnies. And you're going to see me go ahead and number the bunnies, 1, 2, 3, how I want them laid out on my card. I'm going to lay them from left to right. So I'm just going to start with the bottom bunny. He's going to be number 1. And then that center bunny is going to be number 2. And then this bunny is going to be on the far right of it, and it's going to be number 3. So I number these before I actually start coloring. That way I don't have to worry about remembering. I used a couple of neutral grays, N0 and N2, just to lay down a little bit of color on the fur area. And then I even came in with R20 and added a little bit of pink to the cheeks, a little bit of W000, just to give a little bit of shading to his teeth area, and kept it real simple with coloring him until we get to the ears. So most of the time on the inside of the bunny ears, we see a lot of pink being colored in there. We're actually going to color the inside of his ears a rainbow to match our stenciled background. And I'm going to start with the bunny on the bottom and color part of his ear blue and green. And then the other ear on him, I'm going to do in some greens as well. And then as I work up to the second bunny, I'm going into the yellows and the orangey reds. And then the last bunny in his ears, I'm going to do the pinks and the purples. So it doesn't matter what colors you use. You don't have to use Copic markers. You can use any color medium you have to do this because it's real basic coloring. There's no fancy coloring with this, just a little bit of shading down just to give him a little bit of life to him. And then the inside of his ears is just a matter of blending like we did on our background. Now, once I have these colored, I'm going to stamp them again with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. That's why I left these in here, because I do want to stamp them one more time. Stamping with the VersaFine Onyx Black ink after you've colored them, it just brings all the details out, and you can see that here. So here's a quick peek at those gingerbread guys all colored up and ready to run through the die cut machine. I just wanted you to see how cute they are. You're going to see that in both cards at the end of the video. So I'm going to line my dies up around the Fluff Butt Bunnies and run them through my die cutting machine. And then we're going to go ahead and take the frame from the Slimline Country or Scenic Countryside die set, and we're going to run that through our die cutting machine. And I'm actually going to show you that on screen. I want to show you how you can take this Slimline die and use it in a 6-inch die cutting machine. So a question that I get asked a lot is, can you use this die in a 6-inch machine? And the answer is yes. So we're centering our frame on our ink blended background. I'm securing it down with my Scotch removable tape. I'm going to lay it on my cutting mat at an angle, so when I run it through my machine, it runs through smoothly. I don't get that hard crank. It doesn't put a lot of wear and tear on my plates, my dies, and my machine by doing this. You just notice part of it's hanging off the back. Once you've run it through the machine, take it out, slide everything up, cover it back up with the cutting plates, and run it back through the machine. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add this to a piece of black cardstock. Now, my cardstock is 4 inches by 8.5 inches. Some people prefer a 3.5 by 8.5 inch slimline card. And I've actually done that with the Christmas version of this card. But I wanted to use all the pieces from my ink blended background, so I opted for a 4-inch by 8.5 inch card with the Fluff Butt stamp set. Now you can see there to the right, my frame already has a piece of acetate on the back of it. So let me show you the quick and the best way to go about doing this on the Christmas version of this card. So here we have our Christmas ink blended Dotty stencil background. We're going to go ahead and pull that inner piece out, and we're going to center that frame up. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can hold it in place with your hands, or you can use some repositionable tape to hold that frame down. Add tape to the back side of the inner piece. I just held the frame in place with my hands and made sure it was centered up on my 3.5 by 8.5 inch slimline card base. And then I laid the inner piece back into the frame and secured it down by running my hand over it. And then I'm going to remove the frame, and you'll see how easy it is. So now it's centered up and we're ready to go. We're going to add tape to the back side of our frame. We're going to cut us a piece of acetate to fit on the back side and go ahead and secure that down on the tape. And then we're ready to add our mounting foam to this. So a couple of things you want to keep in mind when you're adding mounting foam for your shaker cards. One, you always need to remember that all the foam pieces need to be touching each other so that none of your shaker pieces fall out. Two, how many layers of foam do you need? Do you only need one? For this particular card, the Fluff Butt card, I only need 1 layer of foam. For the Hey Sugar card, I actually needed 2 layers of foam. So I just doubled up my foam. So here you're seeing me peel back the release paper from the foam, but I'm only peeling it halfway back and then folding it over. And what this does is it gives me a little bit more wiggle room when I'm trying to make sure I have everything lined up. If it does stick, everything is not sticking at one time. It's a little bit easier to get up. If you need to reposition it, this just makes life a little bit easier. Now, once you have everything in place, all you have to do is pull those ends out and it'll remove the rest of the release paper. And then you can press down with your fingers to secure everything in place. It's pretty easy. We're going to start wrapping this up. I've given you a lot of information in this video. It's a little bit longer than normal for me. I appreciate you for sticking around. So I used some liquid glue to add the bunnies down to my shaker card and then set them aside with an acrylic block on top and let them dry. Here I'm adding my What's Up speech bubble above my little fluff butt bunnies. These little speech bubbles are amazing for all the critters that Whimsy carries because they get the point across. It's like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I have to say. And I just think it adds such a fun touch to critter cards when you add that little speech bubble. I've also done some die cutting with that stuff or die set here. You can see I use the word crew from that die set. And I'm stacking a couple of these together just to create some dimension. So I used some glue to secure that crew to the top left corner of the card with the fluff butt right above it. Now I did the same thing with the sugar crew and then I stamped 2 sentiments from that stamp set onto 2 different speech bubbles to place on the shaker card there. So that's going to wrap this video up. I do want to say that you have until December 27th to leave a comment down below. The winner will be announced December 30th. I also need to mention that Whimsy Stamps and this cause for confetti is solely responsible for the prizes being given away during this video. Now, for more information on the products I used in the video, you can check it out by clicking the affiliate links directly below and then heading over to the Whimsy Stamps website to get more information there. We do appreciate the time you spend with us each week, and we are so grateful to our loyal subscribers. Thank you from all of us here at Whimsy Stamps.